here we are already on to episode 2 of the Hellhog podcast. Episode 2, entitled Mystery Behind the Music. Stick around to the end of this episode and listen to an unreleased bonus track. Well, jumping right in, I think that it's time to dissect the first 4 MötherTüsk albums. That would be Satanic Mysteries of the Cryptic Moon, MötherTüsk, Shadow and the Runes, and Hell Night. Well, starting this off, it's Satanic Mysteries of the Cryptic Moon. What brought me to not just entitle an album that, but what was the whole idea behind it? And why have that be the first title in the first album introducing this project or band or whatever that I'm making? Like, why that? And I'll tell you, at that time, I was really still into, like, the early black metal stuff. Like Immortal and Mayhem, all that kind of stuff. What I consider to be really, the classic black metal bands, the True Cult or whatever the hell you want to call it. I knew that I didn't want to do one specific genre, as I've stated before, but I thought, well, the hell with it. Most of these other bands start like punky or like in some punk fashion, and then they clean it up, for like radio hits. I never wanted to be on the radio, nor do I ever want to be on the radio. I really respect what Slayer has done. Not saying that I'll ever do that, but I'm just saying that idea, that mindset. So yeah, I wanted to just make like a really cool, I know Slayer's not black metal. I'm just saying I liked the way that they were, like the way that they did their thing. They didn't even need all the fucking big publicity that Metallica and everybody else had. Cause Slayer's Slayer, they're just their own thing. It's for like the underground thrash fans, I guess. They didn't want to be radio hits. But getting back to the topic, Satanic Mysteries of the Cryptic Moon, the first album by MötherTüsk, let's run down the track listing. Winds of the Cryptic Moon, Black Mass Witchery, Summoning the Baphomet, Animosity, Eternal Sorrow Death Reigns, and Accursed Fate of the Wolf. I really knew what I was going for the album. I wanted like a dark, mysterious, eerie feeling album. Like that classic, like black metal stuff. Like if you just found it in a shop somewhere on a cassette and you put it in the tape deck, and there you go. And then it's like, holy shit, what did I just find? That's kind of what I wanted to go for. And I don't know, I heard that back from 2 people, so that's cool. Just so you can kind of get a feel of the album. Track 1 is about just like an ominous feeling, like Winds of the Cryptic Moon, like the plague that you are on the world will come to you tenfold after your death or something. I don't know. But Black Mass Witchery, that one's obviously about like, don't tell me what to believe. Believe what you want to believe. Anyway, Summoning the Baphomet. Now, that one's just about bringing tranquility back to your life. Like, whatever you do happen to believe, just make sure that you're equal with yourself and with whatever you fucking believe. Animosity, that one's about hate. Yeah. Eternal Sorrow Death Reigns. That one has a stupid title because I was trying to, like, I don't know, make mention and, like, point out the fact that sometimes this music has stupid titles. Yeah. And it sounded like Rain and Blood, but it's like reigns, like a king or something. Like, the death reigns over humanity. Blah. I don't know. And then the last song is A Cursed Fate of the Wolf. That one's my favorite probably on the whole fucking album besides the first song. Everybody online likes Summoning the Baphomet, but I don't know what that's about, you Satanists. But anyway, A Cursed Fate of the Wolf. Now that one's about werewolves. Hell yeah. Werewolves. And that's just about pretty much any movie that you want to think about, whether it be the Howling or American Werewolf in London or anything like that. The original, Wolfman, anything, Moving on. The self-titled album, MötherTüsk. And here's the track listing. Entombed in Death, Walk Among Us, Devil Cult Ritual, Festering, Crucifixion Forest, Closure, Vanquished Human Spirits, Plague of the World, Burying the Hatchet, Serene Intoxicant, Live for the Dead, Drone Circa 47, that one's about aliens, and an Inevitable Pit of Despair. Now to briefly go over what those songs are about. The first track is Entombed in Death. At any given turn in life, you are entombed in death. Now, anyway, second song's about zombies. Yeah, Walk Among Us. Right. The next one, Devil Cult Ritual. That one's just your stereotypical hippie cult, I'm going to eat you kind of song, basically. Festering, that one's also kind of a mirror to Animosity. It's also about animosity. Crucifixion Forest, I wanted to paint a picture, really, with that one. So just go knock yourself out and go listen to it. Closure, that one was, I don't know if it was even personal or if it was just like that shit I was going through at the time, but yeah, it was closure. So like there was closure on a lot of things. Vanquished Human Spirit, that one you usually have right after you have closure, because usually you're either really happy or you're really depressed, and well, there you go. Write a song and then get over it. Plague of This World, there's your happy song. We're back to James. Alright, now Burying the Hatchet. You can kind of see the correlation here. Oh shit. And then Live for the Dead. Now that one, everyone kept dying. All my favorite people kept dying, whether you be famous, you're my family members or friends or whoever the fuck. There's just a lot of that kind of stuff in life, and so I was like, Live for the Dead. Drone Circa 47, that one, I wanted to paint a picture about aliens. Not necessarily that they're true, not necessarily that they aren't true, but I just want to think, that's all. And then and have some fun with it while we're at it, okay? And then Inevitable Pit of Despair. That song was supposed to be an epic that failed miserably. That was just the shittiest attempt of trying to be a cross between the classics like Sabbath and Zeppelin and like, I don't know, like Electric Light Orchestra, because they do big epics. I don't know. I was going for something, but I wanted it to sound like black metal-y or like doomy and shit. Kind of like insert band here. There you go. Moving on to the next album. And it's not even necessarily that my interpretation of the music is the interpretation of the music that I need to get across to you, the listener. But here's the thing. Everybody has their own opinion, and that's what music and life and everything is, and that's the beauty of art. It's subjective. So you can have it be about whatever in the hell you want. If you don't want A Cursed Fate of the Wolf to be about werewolves, go have it be about a cursed wolf that's in a land of curses. or something. I don't know. Do you see why I went with the werewolves? Now, here's a little caution, actually, because this was going to be my last album I was going to do for MötherTüsk, and then just move on to music that everybody else wants to make, I guess, because you can actually fucking find people that want to make other stuff. But this is the stuff I want to do, and this is the stuff that comes from my heart. So, yeah, Shadow in the Ruins. This was going to be the last album. I'm really happy I didn't quit after that, because I have a lot more ideas, but I feel it ending soon, but I don't know. That's to be seen. Moving on with the album. Track listing of Shadow in the Ruins is Transfixed by Destruction, Total Fucking Annihilation, Devious and Dominance, Vicious Tyrannical Circle, Raw Visceral Hate, Eye for an Eye, and Shadow in the Ruins. This was supposed to completely be my just balls to the wall extreme metal album. I hate calling it one specific genre, like I keep saying. I don't want to call it death metal or black metal or doom metal or whatever metal. I don't give a fuck. Watermelon metal. Say that 5 times fast. Now. No, but the Apple core metal? Nah. Okay, we're not getting into the Apple core metal. Transfixed by Destruction. That is your opener for this album. That is pretty straightforward. I used the chords from an old song called Celestial Death Cult, which was named after my old band, Celestial Death Cult. But I changed the fucking name and I rewrote it. Next song, Total Fucking Annihilation, is about total fucking annihilation. Every single cool black metal band or whatever, or like extreme band, has their own like extreme song name that will get your attention. So I was like, I should probably do the same. And I was writing a new album anyway, and then that's the first one that came to my mind. Devious and Dominance. I had been writing that for many years, like probably 10 years, and actually for the next like 3 songs I had been writing for like the last 10 years before the band even started, because I always wanted to do this. So Devious and Dominance, that's about just power control, basically, power trips, Vicious Tyrannical Circle, that one is also sort of like power trips, but it goes a little bit past that. Like, yeah, there's power trips and shit in this world, and there's people that's always going to try to put themselves above you, or try to like say that they have more power or more money or whatever the fuck it is, but you got to go around that. So Vicious Tyrannical Circle, that one is more power trips but coming from the government. So that's exactly what that is. Raw Visceral Hate. Let me say the names right. Raw Visceral Hate is about raw visceral hate. It's about that feeling that you get when, like, you just snap when some fucking buddy, if you've ever snapped, maybe you're just normal and you've never snapped, but yeah, when people piss you off, which I know 99% of people on this earth have been pissed off on this earth, so you know exactly what I'm feeling. Eye for an eye. That one is the old saying, eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. That's that exact same thing. So take the raw visceral hate and channel it through a shit channel and then see what you get. And then Shadow in the Ruins, that's how this whole, like, the whole outcome of the album ends. Like, if this, what do they call that? A conceptual album. A concept album. Well, this one really was about just balls to the wall hatred and channeling the hatred and seeing the outcome of said hatred. So Shadow in the Ruins is about basically the end of the world. I was trying to one up the last album and have the epic again, but I think it was a better song. I just don't think either of them are good songs. So there you go. Moving on to the next album. Much like the demo before this album is also much about a breakup, or at least it's intertwined within the album upon much more things. Welcome to Hell Night. That is the next album. It's Hell Night. So track listing is Hell Night, Rotten Bastard Disease, Dead on Halloween, Entering the Void, Empty Vessel, Get Out of My Head, Get Into My Trunk, Be Careful with the Devil's Pitchfork, In the Valley of Lost Souls. This is why you let the dead man sleep. Down Below, Chariot of Death, Brain Rot, and The Burning. First track, Hell Night, is pretty much about the back and forth manipulation that you get when you get in with the wrong people in general, let alone a woman, or a friend, or a family member, or whoever. But, yeah, that's what Hell Night is. Rotten Bastard Disease. That one is about your own perceptions in the world in which you live, and how you can channel your own hatred. Dead on Halloween. That is your grand total Halloween theme song for MötherTüsk. So if we were a 60s band, that would be like my Monster Mash. Yeah. Entering the Void. That one was more of a personal one. Not about myself, but about people I know. Because, like, entering the void, man. You know? Think about it. Empty Vessel. That one's also about somebody that I know. And it was an empty vessel. It's very sad. But anyway, Get Out of My Head, Get Into My Trunk, Back to the Party. Alright. Now, this one is your horror song. I was trying to be funny, and in most cases that doesn't work out, just like this case, because it seems like it only got less than, like, not even 10 views. Which I don't really care about the views, but that means that people don't like the song. So, yeah, it must have sucked as a joke. But it was supposed to be a 80s parody cover, if that makes sense, without stepping on toes. Moving on. Be Careful with the Devil's Pitchfork. That one is an instrumental, simply claiming, be careful with the Devil's Pitchfork. Because, I mean, if you go around trying to poke on that thing, then you're gonna get poked, you're gonna get trapped in hell. Why would you do that in the first fucking place? Anyway, because then you're going to be brought down to In the Valley of Lost Souls. Do you see how that works? It is now In the Valley of Lost Souls, which is about you do too much shit, you get the consequences. Man. Sort of. It's also sort of a parody. But it is what it is. And it is what you think it is, not what I think it is. This is why you let the dead man sleep. That one was about zombies. Down Below. Down Below was about hell. Or at least the feeling of hell, of being trapped in hell. But it's funky. Chariot of Death. Ooh, here's this one. This one's about my car. Because every good songwriter has a song about their car. Vroom, vroom. Now, that leads me to the thing that brings up this whole podcast. Fucking brain rot. You know? What's that one about? Probably brain rot. The kids these days. And then The Burning. The Burning was supposed to be me leading back into extreme music because I was getting really sick of making rock and roll. Because this is the thing. With rock bands, everybody wants one good anthem and then fuck you. With an extreme metal band, you can make as many songs as you want and nobody cares about any of them. So there you go. It's a good point and a good outlook. Now for the bonus round of this episode. My favorite song from each album for the first 4 MötherTüsk albums that we just went over. For Satanic Mysteries of the Cryptic Moon, I would have to say, like before, A Cursed Fate of the Wolf. For the self-titled album, that one's a little bit harder. I'd probably go with... It used to be Live for the Dead, but honestly, that was just when I was writing it. After looking back, after the years, after that album, I'd probably say Crucifixion Forest really, really gets me. That really paints a picture that that does what I wanted it to do for the most part, for a low budget album. A close second is Closure, though, for being a new favorite. From Shadow in the Ruins, my personal favorite song from that album would have to be Raw Visceral Hate. Everybody else's favorite seems to be Devious and Dominance, but my favorite while writing the album and after is still Raw Visceral Hate, because that's the one that I felt hit the Slayer bone. That's what I was going for, thrash or extreme. And my personal favorite song, and these are not even really favorites, they're just after the fact, what's the best one do you think pops out from the album? Do you think people actually like? And for me, for Hell Night, I think it is Chariot of Death, because that one really demonstrates the feel I think that I was going for. Everybody else seems to think it was In the Valley of Lost Souls, or Hell Night, or Rotten Bastard Disease, or something else. And that's fine, because that's what I want. I want you people to be, telling me what's what. But my favorite from the album was Chariot of Death. So yeah, that brings us to an end for this episode. And I just wanted to say thank everybody that does listen to the music, the podcast, or anything that I seem to have bumbling in my head that I actually spawn upon the world. I really appreciate the hell out of it. Thank you guys. Maybe next time I'll do either the singles or the EPs or something else. Until next time, take care. Thank you to my awesome listeners for hanging out to the end. What I am about to share with you, I made I wrote it back in 2018 and probably recorded it in 2020 when I started actually recording music. This was one of the original songs that I made, much like Viva La Dead, or songs like Poverty Line, or stuff like that. I wrote that all the way back in 2018, 2015, a long time ago, and I just never recorded stuff until 2020. So this is some unreleased original Tusk I'm about to share. Now, here is that bonus track, MötherTüskers, rock and roll. Bullshit, we all know.
Free